Sorry, I'll be right with you.
Okay.
Hello,
Hi.
how are you doing today?
Good. And you?
Excellent, doing well.
Good.
Okay, so when do you take your exam?
The 4th April, the 4th.
Sorry, I don't know why my phone is doing that. April, when are you going to try to take it again though?
Oh, this Thursday.
Okay, this Thursday.
Yeah.
So this Thursday. What sort of things have you done in preparation up until this point to get ready for the exam? Let me bring up your exam really quickly, actually. Some results. All right, let me see. All right. Okay. So looking at your scores, most of the work, and this is great that, not great, but what's great about it is that in addition to us discussing some of the best practices today, I'm also going to send you a link to videos you can watch on YouTube, like extra things that we go over, particular strategies, particular things that we do when we're designing instructional lessons or activities, and likewise with assessments and whatnot. And so after today, after we go over sort of what I'd like for you to do in preparation, you can sort of just listen to some of those videos, like while you're getting dressed between now and then, and it'll help that particular content specific vocabulary that they use on the exam become more familiar. So you know what it means to scaffold, or you know what differentiation of instruction is, what it looks like in the classroom, and why we even do it, right? So those are some of the topics that we discuss on the videos, but we'll go over much of that today. So just looking at your scores, you have about 50% in instruction and assessment. So we're going to hit that really hard. Everything else, you're so very close, almost there in. It's just the pedagogy and assessment. So what we're going to do today is we're going to look at the document that is aligned particularly with language other than English. And then we're going to hit those particular competencies, or those, they're actually standards, which the test makers then sort of reorganize into competencies. So you're pretty really good on your written responses. So, I mean, just the largest area where you can make the biggest bang for your buck in passing, because you're so close as it is. If you could do 10 more questions, in that pedagogy area, that's going to put you over, and you're going to get it for sure. So we're going to discuss those things, and then I'm going to send you those links later. Please listen to them, like and subscribe, so that other people can access those videos. But let me bring up LOTE. All right, so for here, see. So this is where all of the educator standards are in this on this website. And so we have English language arts at this grade level, and they each have a particular document, a PDF filled with the standards that we're responsible for. Our professional responsibilities to whatever that certification is. Some there's more professional responsibilities, like the trades. They have a lot of professional responsibilities, a little bit more than academic. And then also, and more importantly, what we are required to know and be able to do in the classroom with the kids. And that means, are we able to design lessons that are going to be appropriate for all of the kids that we have right then and there, wherever they are? We'll go into detail about that. So language other, where are you? Scam likely. Oh, here it is. Language. I was like, I know it's here. Language other than English. Okay. So you're responsible for these content standards. And then if you'll notice, let me just go back really quickly, the content standards, but then you're also responsible for the pedagogy. And that goes even more into detail with, you know, instruction and development, what we are supposed to be able to do for all of our kids, wherever they are at any age level.
Yeah.
So let's go back in there. Okay, so here are the standards. And those, I believe that you have difficulty would be standard 2. Yeah. Standard 2 is assessment and instruction.
Yes.
And I mean, standard 3 is even a little bit pedagogy as well. But I would imagine that standard 2 is the one that you need the most study for. So that means doing a really deep sort of dive into the area that you need. So here's standard 2. And I know for a fact that at least standard 2, you need to do a critical reading of this document. So let's take a look at it. Let me get my little highlighter, because it's incredibly important that every Texas teacher be familiar with this document, that they print it. I'm a printer, you're like, not a printer, but you know what I mean? I'm a person who likes to print things out so that I can highlight and write my notes and have a dialogue with this text, because this text is the crux, the foundation, the everything of your job, of the profession that you seek. Really important that at the very least, everybody has read through it. And then if you want to be, you know, an A student, that you do a critical reading. And that means that you look up things that you don't understand. If you come across something in either the knowledge side or the skills side, and you say, I don't know what that looks like, or I don't know what that means, that you utilize resources, which is me, and or Google, you know, an answer to it, but not sort of brushing over it, because you never know if this will be a scenario that they sort of bring up in context of their story. So let's take a look at standard 2. We have the language other than English teacher understands, you are understanding, assessment and instruction. I'm going to just circle it here. Because assessment and instruction is a cycle. It's a cycle that continues to grow. It continues to grow the kids if we do it correctly. So we don't give assessments or tests or quizzes or check for understanding needs assessments just so that we can give them grades, or so that we can put them in a hierarchy. Who knows more than who? We do it to measure, hopefully, if it's an assessment that had any thought put into it, to measure particular objectives, you know, specific content, learning objectives that you put forth, and you're measuring their mastery of it. And if in that measuring, it's left wanting, if I am, and there's so many ways to assess. The word assessment sounds so fancy, and we automatically think like, oh, they come in and they have like it's like a multiple choice test or something, but it could be something as simple as me walking around and listening to the cooperative learning groups and hearing that the individual groups are off, or they're not understanding. And then I could know immediately, okay, guys, we need to go back and we're not understanding, you know, author's purpose or something. Like we have, you guys are misidentifying author's purpose for this writing or whatever. So I'd have to go back and do maybe a reteach or model, reread through it, go through these things. Can you excuse me 1 second? Because I hear beeping and I'm like, is that like coming from my house?
Okay.
Come back. Oh, no, I did it wrong. Which one can you just do away with?
Like A, immersion program is not correct. This sounds more like engage the students with other cultures, like to know about it, not just to learn the language right away or something.
What else? What else can you get rid of and bet yourself $5? That's not the answer for sure.
A bilingual education program?
Absolutely, because a bilingual education program is not that, it's completely something else, right? Learning
Yeah.
2 languages at the same time, learning to read in English.
Yes, at the same time.
And read in whatever other language. Right. Concurrently. Can't be, we can bet ourselves $5, not the answer. Now, we're left with ND. Of our keywords and phrases, which one of them best and want them to have introduction to language and all that other stuff? One of these would do a better job. A foreign language in the elementary school program, otherwise known as FLEX, or a foreign language experience program, otherwise known as FLEX. Which one matches your keywords and phrases?
Like
which one?
Number D, letter D. Flex.
Do you think that D match? Okay, let's see. Let's see. D. Right. Yes. Because program described offers limited instruction in foreign language, focusing primarily on fostering foreign language and cultural awareness and appreciation. So not direct instruction of acquiring the language, but getting them in like exposure to and putting a highlighting or putting a focal point on foreign language and different cultures and whatnot. So that was the flex. Let me see. It doesn't say what else. All right. So here we have another one. Now we're going to read the question and then what keywords and phrases do we need to pay attention to? So we have a foreign language teacher is planning a unit on a historical figure. Which of the following activities is most appropriate for a second grade immersion class? Now, what should I highlight that's important from what we just read?
A historical figure.
Yeah, and she's planning a whole unit.
Mm-hmm.
And we are looking for an activity that is appropriate
for a second
grade immersion class. What does immersion mean? And what does it mean to be a second grade immersion? And then how can you best plan a unit about a historical figure for that particular grade for second graders in an immersion class? So let's read, let's take a look. We have A, completing worksheets for practice with past tense verb forms so students can speak and write about the historical figure's life. Reading storybooks in the target language to students about the historical figure's life and contributions to society. Translating the most important figure's life into the student's language. Showing a video in English about current events. For sure, because it's not, we can bet ourselves $5.
Okay. Letter C is not correct.
Letter C is not correct. Why is letter C not correct? Why would this not be useful?
Because they just like translating and is right. I don't know, that doesn't sound like easy for them and to get knowledge.
It will not help them acquire the language.
No, because there is in the first language and it's supposed to be in the second language,
Right,
right?
exactly. So it's not going to be fruitful. You're not doing your job. You put it in their home language, and now
Mhm.
we're not measuring a second language. So what else can we get rid of?
Letter A.
Right. So this is not going to be the most appropriate. They're second graders, and you're going to have them sit and complete worksheets, practicing past tense verbs, so that later they can speak and write about it. Like, that's very advanced, so that later, that's, we're talking about second graders. I don't think that A is appropriate based on the things that we identified. So now we're left with B and D. And typically it's down to those two, right? And they'll say, like they said it here, most appropriate. And they say most appropriate because sometimes they give you three appropriate, but one is more appropriate than all the others based on the specific words they use in the scenario. So it's carefully reading, like, where this is a whole unit of planning on a historical figure, and we're looking for activities most appropriate for second grade immersion class. And we're left with B and D. So which one of these would be best?
I think clearly is letter B.
I think so too. I agree. Let's take a look. B, because reading storybooks
In
the target language information in an accessible format and is consistent with an immersion program approach of the different historical figures. A is incorrect because the use of past tense verb forms would likely be A, too difficult for the students, and completing the worksheets would not necessarily prepare the students to be able to speak and write about historical figures' life in the past tense. Two quite complex tasks. I said they're above the second grade level. C and D are incorrect because the activities do not even use the target language, and therefore they're unsuitable. And that's what we.
So I need to put attention on.
Which is then that's not an immersion class. That's just that's absolutely. Pay careful attention to their word choice. That's how they get you. You know the right answer. You just have to say, what is the question asking me? What keywords and phrases are there to tell me what they're looking for? Answer is going to be better than the other based on those keywords and phrases that you identify. Okay, let's take a look at this one. We have the foreign language teach extemporaneous speaking among students. Which of the following would be the most appropriate activity to foster the skill for students at this level? Okay, lots of words. So we need to find out what's the goal of the teacher. What is the question asking? What's the goal for the foreign language teacher in this question? And what keywords and phrases are important for us to pay attention to in order to accurately identify her goal here. So we are looking for their intermediate level class. Very important information. Type of speaking.
Speaking, yeah.
She wants to encourage, another word for her to multiply their, experience with extemporaneous speaking among students. And so what would be the most appropriate activity? The goal of the foreign language teacher is the best activity to foster extemporaneous speaking skills on an intermediate level. That's the goal that I'm looking for. And my answer needs to do those things. I just took my keywords and phrases and I put it in a sentence. So I'm looking, the goal for the foreign language teacher is an activity that fosters students at an intermediate level extemporaneous speaking skills. That's what I'm looking for.
Yes.
Way to encourage their extemporaneous. So let's take a look at these, read these, and then ones that do not address our goal for the teacher to foster these extemporaneous speaking skills for intermediate students, then we cross it out and we can bet ourselves $5. That's not the answer. So Students memorize a short poem of their choice in the target language and recite it to the class using prompts. Students participate in an impromptu debate on a controversial issue where they need to justify their opinion in the target language. Student teams prepare skits on a familiar topic and act them out while reading from a script. Students practice and perform a role play in the target language about a unit studied in class. We're looking for the best activity to foster the students' extemporaneous speaking skills in an intermediate class. What can we get rid of?
Letter C. Oh,
Yes, and why can we get rid of C?
I will read enough from the script. It doesn't say like anything reading.
Is it extemporaneous speaking? Is this an example of extemporaneous speaking?
No. What does extemporaneous
It's not.
mean?
They're reading it. They're not even speaking it. They're reading it. Speaking
Reading
is
from a script.
So let's see, what else can we get rid of?
Letter B.
Letter what?
Letter B.
B.
As a
Why do you
point.
want to get rid of B?
It says controversial issue. They need to justify their opinion. I think it's more like difficult, like more.
Right. Well, they're intermediate. But it's important that she wants to encourage speaking, encourage extemporaneous. Extemporaneous means not planned. It's just like, if I told you, what do you think about the police response in Uvalde, how ridiculously slow and awful it was, and they just waited outside while the brown babies died? That's the topic. And I just threw it out to you. And whatever you say to me is extemporaneous speaking. You don't have it planned out. You didn't know what I was going to say, and you have to come up with it. And so she wants to increase kids that are at an intermediate level, their ability to speak extemporaneously amongst their peers. So reading from a script or writing a script is not going to help them do that.
No.
Performing a role play, it is not going to help them do that. Even memorizing a poem is not going to help them do that. The only thing that would help them do that is to give them practice by giving them a topic and having them discuss it in the target language to build up their proficiency, extemporaneous speaking. But let's see what the state says. Oh, it's wrong. I'm wrong. Oh my God. Okay. Reciting a poem and acting this way. C, B, although participating in impromptu debate involves extemporaneous speaking, justifying opinions in the target language without preparation. Okay, you were right. See, you were right and I was right. So the reason yours was better than mine was because although it does include extemporaneous, you're right. You need to justify efficiency. You know, I wouldn't be able to do it. At being appropriate is absolutely right. So practicing performing a role play or that involve extemporaneous speaking. I guess role play because you're like, but still you're speaking, but you still have a character and you're within a role or whatever. So you get to pretend like I could be Dora the Explorer, or I could be, Donald Trump in my skit and stay within that role. And can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
So good job. Okay, good job. That was really good. You noticing that above. You're going to make her a Spanish teacher than I ever could. That is above you to be able to do that. Speak on it is one thing, but then to justify your opinions, that second is more complex and intermediate. So practicing a role play, I'm going to pretend to be the mom, and you're going to pretend to be the dad, and we're going to grocery shopping or something, and role play grocery shopping, and that would be a way for them to practice. It's not out of reading. They use your knowledge of beginner, etc. Novice level, which more to encourage a high school student novice level culture. Let's look at keywords. What are we thinking?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, there we go. So we are number 4, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which of the following will be most appropriate means for a foreign language teacher to encourage high school novice level language to gain insights into the target? So I've highlighted the keywords and French teacher is for this scenario. So we have inviting a teacher who is from the target culture to teach a unit on another discipline, having students listen to recorded interviews featuring young people from various countries where the target language is spoken, asking students to download music from the target language countries in styles similar to their favorite artists, having students summarize chapters from a subject area textbook on the target culture. So we're looking for ways to encourage high school students. It is important that we're talking about high school, and they are at a novice level, and we want encouragement. We want them to engage, and in particular, we want to gain insights into the culture, the target culture. So which one of these can you just get rid of and you can bet yourself $5 that's not the answer?
Letter D.
Letter D, for sure. This is not going to encourage anybody to gain insights. Having them summarize chapters, that's not going to help encourage anything. Typically, students don't like those activities. Sometimes they can't be avoided, but that's not going to encourage anyone to gain any insight on the culture. So let's look at something else. We want to do
The more, I think it's like letter C, the correct one. Like it's more like encourage them, like asking students to download music from target language, like something they are familiar with and they like it, and practice with the target language, like the same of music.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one way. And that's certainly a way to get them to be interested in it. But can we ask students to download music though? Like, can we say like, oh, you have to go home and download music from a target language? We might get into some trouble in that area, but it's for them to go out and research it possibly would be a better. What about having them listen to interviews featuring young people from the countries, like people their age, like at the mall or in different areas, talking about things that they like or topics.
Yeah, that one is more like a scholar. Like
right?
having, yeah.
Well, let's see. I'm not sure. You could be right. You were right last time and I was incorrect. So let's take a look. I also agree that C is a good answer, because it super involves the students' interests, right? They have to go find the music that they like and bring it to us. And then now they're showing us stuff. So it's a good activity. I just don't know if you can, oh, you're right. Absolutely. Because downloading music from the target countries in similar styles to those of students' favorite artists would encourage observation and comparison. And it certainly would. I just thought that maybe downloading would be an issue, but that answer was the best answer, because you're taking, like I said, their interests, and whenever you use them as a real human being, as a real student, utilizing their interest in the assessment, their interest in the activities, their interests in even the content, then you're going to get more, you're going to get better results. So let me see. Oh, because the recorded interviews may not necessarily contain any cultural content. So they might not give them any like cultural information, but they can talk about similar styles, and that it's a cultural nuance to culture, right? Like reggaeton or something, and or something else. Like you have them think about it in those. So you see, again, you got it. You are so ready for this on Thursday. You are ready.
Hope so.
You're ready. Absolutely. So I'm going to have to let you go, but if you need anything else between then and now, please let me know. I'm going to send you the videos to some past study sessions so that you can review those things, because they will be helpful, because it's pedagogy and instruction. It's on the pedagogy exam, but it's the same thing. It's just in more detail. So I'll send you some of those. Please make sure to like and subscribe if you can. And good luck. I will be thinking of you on Thursday.
Yeah, thank you. Just one question. Do you provide, like, when you have many sessions with one student, do you provide like quizzes